Hey guys, Jesse Adams here. Thanks for joining my channel. On behalf of my brokerage, Mason Amelia, I proudly present November 20 Tango Whiskey. This stunning 2018 SF50 G1 Vision Jet is one of the final serial numbers in its series. It's coming to market with 730 flight hours since new, and the owner just recharged Jet Stream, so you have 150 hours, which essentially means you're flying for free for the first year. I love the cabin, the interior space, a 5-foot wide expansive interior. But what's also convenient, the footprint of this plane is no different from an SR-22. That means it's going to fit in the standard T-hanger. So if you're ready to step into pressurization and turbine reliability with the added benefit of parachute, you should definitely check out November 20 Tango Whiskey. We're out here on site with my buddy and client, Tyler. We're going to take this bad boy for a spin. Come along.
Leveled off just for a little bit at 14.5, and Salt Lake is so busy today. We are maneuvering and getting vector, just have a little VFR flight to demo the plane, but we have to deal with the task at hand. So Tyler, I think your trajectory is pretty incredible and inspiring. So you've been flying less than 5 years, and you went from an SR-22 turbo in your own jet. This is incredible. Now, you did have an intermediary stop.
I did.
If you could tell folks just for a minute what you flew in right before the Vision Jet, and maybe what it lacked and what took you from that into this ultimately.
Yeah, so I had a 2010 Piper Meridian. G1.
Great plane.
Yeah, great plane. I loved it. The turbine reliability is amazing. That's kind of what sold it for me. I do a lot of long distance trips from Utah to the East Coast. So being able to go higher without oxygen pressurization was the big thing. Ultimately, the reason that I ended up selling that was the lack of comfort in the Meridian. It was a very tight fit. Anybody that's been in a PA-46 knows that they're not the most comfortable planes. So after sitting in a Vision Jet, I knew that I wanted one, and it made those longer distance trips to the East Coast exponentially more comfortable. So that's kind of what led me to this.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at this beautiful landscape we have, it's also very unforgiving going eastbound, going over the mountains.
Correct. I mean, ultimately the end goal is to have 2 engines, right? That's always been my goal. My ultimate end goal has always been a twin engine jet. The parachute is great for if you're traveling with people who may not be familiar with an airplane, people who maybe have a little bit of stress about losing an engine. Obviously, anybody that has pilot experience knows that you can still land a plane without an engine. But at the end of the day, it comes down to passenger comfort, and some people won't fly in a plane unless it has a parachute, and that's totally fine.
And not to downplay the genius of the parachute, right? Because I'm a Cirrus owner and fan myself. But the parachute, just like you said, it's peace of mind if you're over the rocks, if you're at night. And if your family, they just want a plan C. If great airmanship and great decision-making on the ground still leads you in peril, you have the parachute, which is really incredible. And so going from the Cirrus to the Meridian and now the comfort of the Vision Jet. And by the way, you and I are both just under 6 foot. But this cabin is nothing like a PA46 or even a TBM. The headspace, my seat can lower. I have at least 4 inches of headspace, and I sit up tall. And we have just over 5 feet of width. I mean, this cabin is expansive.
Yep.
In the back, we have a flip-down 22-inch entertainment display. We actually have 7 seats in here. 2 are for children, 90 pounds or less, but it holds 5 adults comfortably. And this is pressurized comfort. We've been over 12.5 for the last 15 minutes. You haven't heard us talk about supplemental oxygen or reach for a cannula. It is just so comfortable in this plane. And, you know, I have a wife and kids at home, and I've actually been looking at upgrading. I just sold JJ my 22T, and now stop pushing this plane on me, Tyler, because you know I have a sweet spot in my heart for these Vision Jets, but it really is something. Okay, so where are you on next? Why are you going to sell this plane? You've only had it about a year.
So I'm going to do a citation next. That's always been the ultimate goal. With a lot of my trips being on the East Coast during the summertime, it gets pretty nasty with weather across the middle of the country typically. So being able to top the weather is pretty much the selling point at this point.
Right.
2 engines is great. Added performance is great as well. But the main selling feature is being able to top the weather. That's the main thing.
Right. So you're gonna get that, but you know, one thing you told me, and it definitely resonates with me, is, you know, people talk about operational cost and, you know, very efficient options, for example, a PA46, but I think you're going to miss this little single engine jet, right?
I will.
Because at the end of the day, right now, we're, you know, at cruise, you're burning about 64 gallons an hour when you're at 28,000 feet, right?
Correct, yep.
And you're going to a place that, you know, you might be burning 140 gallons an hour. Unless you get those fancy little winglets, we could shave off 5 or 10%, right?
Yep. Thank you, CAA, for trying to save me as much money as possible on fuel. So
yeah,
that's the ultimate goal.
So guys, in this video, we're going to turn now to a couple of features of the plane, and I'll let Tyler kind of walk through what the G3000 has to offer.
Yeah, so these are called our GTCs is what they call them. So GTC 1, 2, and 3. You know, this is PFD home, as you can see at the top right there. The middle one is typically where I leave my flight plan. That's kind of the standard. The cool thing also kind of emphasizing on this part is procedures is very easy to set up. Departures, arrivals, approaches, everything like that.
Actually, would you mind showing us how you set up, can you do a visual for 3-1?
Yep, so we're going to do a visual for runway 31 into Provo. We'll just go straight. We'll load it, we'll activate it. So obviously it tells you that clearance over obstacles is not included, but it's a visual. So it puts it up on the screen there for you.
Those 14-inch displays are massive. They look awesome.
Yep, so obviously we're just cruising VFR, so we're not going to be going directly through those. But and then, yeah, down here, the GTC3 is comms, along with squawking and all the other things. The intuitiveness when it comes to changing volumes and being able to, you know, cut off communications with people in the back if they're talking a little too much. Yep, so you can essentially turn off communications to the back if they're, you know, getting a little rowdy on your approach or anything like that. So
yeah, it beats me why you need 3 of these, right? Because the TBM and other ones have 2 and you're happy as a clam, but it's really neat.
Yep. Yeah, so just the overall simplicity, I actually think that this is actually easier once you learn it than a G1000 is, in my opinion.
It's touch screen. There's less buttonology, less soft keys around there.
Yep, and we're all born nowadays, it seems like, with a smartphone in our hands. So, you know, just touchscreen is much easier. And just, like I said, the overall intuitiveness of the technology is what's made this plane awesome to fly.
Would you mind making this beautiful screen landscape mode for the Synvis?
Yep.
Going full screen with it? My goodness, look at that. That is beautiful. Look at the topography. The situational awareness. What I really like that Cirrus set up as well is I love the MFD, and you don't have to go to an engine page. Everything you need is right here. Percentage of thrust, you know, we're loitering around 35 gallons per hour is nothing. Unfortunately, your CJ, I think she'd be a little thirstier than that.
A little thirsty. Yeah.
Right, but your N1, N2, it's all FADEC controlled. You cannot over torque or over limit or over temp this Williams engine, which is great thanks to the FADEX startup, is you saw us do it with the touch of a button. And your flaps, here's the big thing, your pressurized cabin, your pressure differential. All you do, you set your destination elevation. It knows it will, well, it might be as confused as air traffic control is what we're doing flying around in circles here. What's really nice though, guys, when you're at 28,000 feet, your cabin is at 8,700 feet. That's what your body feels. If you go into an M600, you're going to be at probably about 9,500 feet at 280. So the Vision Jet, again, comfort is really king in this plane, and I believe will always be. Hey guys, as we make our final descent into Provo, we appreciate you coming on board as we briefly demoed November 20 Tango Whiskey. What I love about the Vision Jet, again, it's spacious cabin, reliability of a turbine, but then the parachute in case unexpected happens so you could go home to your loved ones. So now we're going to turn over and we're going to watch as Tyler makes a landing into Provo. Thanks for coming along, guys. Guys, as we taxi back in, it's been an absolute pleasure showing you this beautiful SF50 Vision Jet. So if you haven't considered a Vision Jet before, maybe 20 Tango Whiskey is the one for you. And Tyler, I can't thank you enough for the hospitality and the smooth flying. Okay, guys, so stay tuned for our listing coming to market exclusively with Mason Amelia.